Now, I'm a United States Senator. I'm also on the Appropriations Committee. I have influence over your budget, don't I?
You do, sir.
Now, let's suppose I tweet out, I'm really mad at Joe Blow, and I think the Justice Department ought to prosecute him. Do I have the right to do that under the First Amendment? I'm not asking you whether it's wise. Justice Crane, we elect judges in Louisiana, do we not?
We do.
And we have elected judges, our people have decided to elect judges for a long, long, long time, haven't they?
As long as I can research, yes.
Are you responsible for that system of choosing judges?
Not at all.
When you run for judge, can you solicit campaign contributions?
You cannot.
You've run 3 times.
I have.
Have you ever solicited a campaign contribution?
I have not.
You have to go through a committee, do you not?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, one of my colleagues, not Senator Welch, suggested that you live in the left front pocket of the oil and gas industry. Is that true?
That is absolutely not true, Senator.
Do you live in anybody's left front pocket?
The only pocket I live in is the rule of law, Senator.
Welcome to the red state. All right, folks, let's talk about what just went down in Congress. Because Senator John Kennedy just gave a masterclass in defending the rule of law, and the media completely ignored it. Now, this wasn't just political theater. This was one of those rare moments when someone in Washington actually said the quiet part out loud, that our justice system only survives if people still trust it. So here's what happened. During a judiciary hearing, Kennedy grilled judicial nominees about the idea of lawfare, meaning the political weaponization of the Justice Department. That's when justice stops being about facts and starts being about revenge. Mr. Duva, one of the nominees, said it straight. Lawfare happens when the DOJ becomes a political tool. And Kennedy? He zeroed in like a hawk. He said, you know, our judicial branch doesn't have an army. It only has legitimacy. Exactly. Once people stop believing the system is fair, game over. You don't get justice, you get chaos. Then Kennedy pulls a classic move. He asks,
And I think that my record reflects that.
It's certainly been my experience. I just wanted to clear that up.
Thank you, Senator.
Mr. Duva, you've heard the expression lawfare, have you not?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I think lawfare gets to the alleged weaponization of the Justice Department and things.
What does that mean?
Well, it's a term that's been used quite a bit. I think it means that the Justice Department becomes the tool of a sitting president or the Congress or whoever to do its bidding and that only, and not follow the law, not follow the facts as applied to the law. What we will do is not do that. We will do the converse of that.
Why is that dangerous?
Because it leads to bias, it leads to improper prosecution. It leads to messes in courtrooms. There's a reason there's a justice manual. There's a reason that there is Rule 6E.
I don't want to talk about the manual. I want to talk about just basic human decency and common sense.
It also erodes the faith of the justice system and our citizens.
Okay.
That is dangerous because it is based on those citizens where the end result, the citizens become jurors. And we need jurors to have confidence in the Justice Department and the prosecutions that it brings and to fairly evaluate cases.
Let me put it this way. Our judicial branch doesn't have an army, does it?
It does not.
Okay. Our judicial branch at the federal and the state level depends on its legitimacy for enforcement. I mean, people have to believe that justice, even though they may disagree with the result, people have to believe in the integrity of the system, do they not?
They do, because as I mentioned with jurors, if they don't and they're selected on a jury, they're not going to follow the judge's instructions to evaluate the cases based on the facts and the law. So it depends on the citizens to help us with the end result. And if that's eroded on the front end, it's eroded on the back end.
All right, if I'm a candidate for district attorney and I run for district attorney saying, if you elect me, people, I'm going to prosecute Joe Blow, a well-known political figure. Is that lawfare?
It is. That's inappropriate.
That undermines the integrity of the criminal justice system, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
That suggests that justice isn't blind, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Now, look, nobody's blameless here. I remember when this nonsense started under President Biden. And I remember thinking, they have unleashed spirits they cannot control. This has got to stop. Now, I'm a United States Senator. I'm also on the Appropriations Committee. I have influence over your budget, don't I?
You do, sir.
Now, let's suppose I tweet out, I'm really mad at Joe Blow, and I think the Justice Department ought to prosecute him. Do I have the right to do that under the First Amendment? I'm not asking you whether it's wise. I'm asking you whether I have a right.
You do. You can tweet, as long as it's nonviolent, you can tweet whatever thought you want.
You have the right to ignore me, don't you?
Absolutely.
All right, let me ask you about being a prosecutor. I've never been a prosecutor. As a prosecutor, you have a moral obligation to yourself and to the criminal justice system, not to bring a criminal prosecution unless you think the defendant is guilty. Is that accurate?
Yes, in the Justice Manual, you have to have the
I don't care
reasonable
about the manual.
probability
I'm
of
talking
conviction.
about common human decency. Is that correct?
Yes, you have to know you have it,
Is that a principle that you agree with?
100%.
Okay. And you not only have to believe that the defendant is guilty, you have to believe that you can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, do you not?
You do. You have to have the facts. Without the facts, you have nothing.
Okay. Is that a principle that you possess?
I do, and that's how I've operated for 18 years.
Okay. And you also have to believe, do you not, that the prosecution is in the public interest? Is that correct?
You do.
Okay. Now, if one of your superiors came to you, well, let me answer the question for you for how I would do it. If one of my superiors came to me and said, look, you got to prosecute this case, and I looked at it, and either I didn't believe that the defendant was guilty, or I didn't believe I could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, or I thought it was not in the public interest because it would undermine the integrity of the criminal justice system, I would resign.
You would, decline the matter.
Sir?
You would decline the matter for sure.
Right. And if they told me, if my superior said, look, Kennedy, what planet did you just parachute in from? You don't have a choice. I'm your boss. I'm telling you to do it. I would resign. How about you?
I have no problem doing that. I would first just say, we're not doing this case, and here's all the reasons, and the discussion could go from there.
Okay. And if you were told to do it or quit, what would you do?
I'd quit.
Okay. Would you ever advise a client not to follow a federal court order?
No, sir.
I appreciate that. Appreciate you not qualifying it. If it's okay to disagree with a federal judge ruling, isn't it?
I often have.
Yep. It's okay to appeal it
Absolutely. We have an appellate section. It's one of the best sections in the criminal division.
within the bounds of legal ethics. It's okay to criticize it, isn't it?
Yes, internally.
But you got to follow it, don't you?
You do, absolutely.
Because that's called the rule of law, isn't it?
It is, and without that, you have anarchy and no confidence in the Justice Department.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the frank answers.
Thank you.
And I
That's
think
cer-
that my record reflects that.
It's certainly been my
Suppose I
experience.
tweet that
I
I'm
just
mad at
wanted to
Joe
clear
Blow
that
and
up.
the DOJ should
Thank you,
prosecute
Senator.
him. Do I have a First Amendment right to say that? And the witness says,
Mr. Duva,
yes. Kennedy
you've
goes,
heard the expression
"Good."
lawfare, have you
You
not?
also have the right
Yes,
to
sir.
ignore
What does that
me,
mean
right?
to you?
Exactly. That's how America
Well,
works.
I think lawfare
Politicians
gets to
can
the,
yell
the
all they
alleged
want.
weaponization
Prosecutors
of the Justice
follow the
Department.
evidence.
And
You know
What
what
does
that's
that mean?
called? The rule of law.
well, it's a term
and
that's
it's
been used
disappearing
quite a bit.
fast.
I think it means
Then
that
Kennedy
the Justice
drops the moral
Department
hammer.
becomes the
He
tool
says,
of a sitting
a
president.
real
or,
prosecutor should only bring
the Congress
charges
or whoever
if three
to do
things
its
are
bidding
true.
and
Key cap
that
1, you
only,
believe the person's
and not
actually
follow
guilty.
the law.
Key cap 2,
not
you can
follow the
prove it
facts
beyond
as
a
applied to
reasonable
the
doubt.
law. What
Key
we will
cap
do is
3, it's in the
not do
public
that. We will
interest.
do the converse.
And you know what
Why
Mr.
is that
Duva
dangerous?
said? It is Boss ordered him to
Because
prosecute a case that
it-
failed those tests.
It leads to
He quit.
bias.
That's
It leads
integrity.
to improper prosecution.
That's how it used to be
It
done.
leads to
Now
messes in
compare that to what
courtrooms.
we see
There's
today.
a reason there's a justice
Endless
manual.
politically motivated
There's
cases,
a reason that there
selective
is
enforcement,
Rule
and
6E
zero accountability.
under the
I don't want to talk
Then
about the
Kennedy
manual. I want
closed
to
with
talk
this.
about just
And
basic
this is why the clip's going
human
viral.
decency
He
and
said,
common sense.
Sure, you can
It
disagree
also
with
erodes
judges.
the
You can
faith of the
appeal.
justice system
You can
and our
criticize.
citizens.
But you still have to follow
that is
the
dangerous
rules.
because it
Because
is
the
based
second
on
you
those
start ignoring
citizens
court
where
orders,
the end result.
you don't have freedom
the
anymore.
Citizens become
You have
jurors.
anarchy.
And we need
That's
jurors
it.
to have
That's the whole
confidence
ballgame.
in the
So,
Justice
yeah,
Department and the
Senator John
prosecutions that
Kennedy
it brings
just
and
reminded
to
the
fairly
country
evaluate
what
cases.
Washington's
Let me put it
forgotten.
this way. Our
That
judicial
justice isn't a
branch
political
doesn't have an
weapon.
army, does it?
It's the glue
It does
that
not.
holds this nation together.
Our
And when the
judicial
left or
branch
the
at
right
the federal
tries
and the
to twist
state
it for
level,
power, we all lose. That's why
depends
this
on,
moment matters.
its
Because one senator
legitimacy.
stood up and said, enough. And in
for
a city drowning in
enforcement. I mean,
politics,
people have
someone
to
finally
believe the
defended
justice,
principle.
even though they may
If you
disagree
still
with the
believe in
result.
facts over feelings,
People have to
justice
believe
over
in the
politics,
integrity of the system. Do they
smash
not?
that like button.
They do,
share this
because as I
video,
mentioned
and
with jurors,
subscribe.
if they don't
Because the
and they're
Constitution
selected on
isn't
a jury,
optional.
they're not
And
going to
it's time
follow the
someone said it
judge's
out loud.
instructions to
I'm there,
evaluate the
state.
cases
Stay
based on the
sharp,
facts and the
stay
law.
free, and
So
God
it
bless
depends on
America.
the citizen.